Hi guys, it's been a while. Welcome to another week of the weekly Forex Forecast. Apologies for not making videos for the last couple of weeks regards to the weekly Forex Forecast. And my YouTube got restricted, and then the restriction has been lifting little by little. First, I can't post a video, but now I can post a video. But for now, you might not be able to click any link in the description box. The recommended link, that is the recommended profile and then the recommended broker. But I will do you guys a favor. I will copy the link and post it in the comment section so that you can be able to click the relevant link easily. And what are we now looking at next week on the US dollar? And don't forget that there is a new escalation of war between Iran and Israel, and then this caused the JPY strength at the later days of last week. That is, we saw how gold skyrocket to the upside, which is the aftermath effect of this new geopolitical tension. And then we saw the spike in the oil price, which actually affects the Canadian dollar. And then we saw how strong the Canadian dollar is on Thursday and Friday, and how weak the Australian dollar and then the New Zealand dollar are on Thursday and Friday. So what are we now looking at, especially in the US dollar? So if you look at this chart, and this chart is a weekly time frame. So if you want to zoom in further, you will see that price has come below this level, which is the 100 level. So price has remained below 100 level for like let's say for like 4 weeks now. We've seen price dancing below the 100 level last couple of weeks. So what are we still now looking at on the DSY? So zooming this, you will see this trend line that we might see a bounce when price come back to 96 level, and then we might see price reject at that level. But next week we will still be looking at US dollar weakness. That is what we'll still be banking on, unless, yes, there's one thing I want to say: there might be gap. There's a probability that there might be gap on Monday. So if you have a position on this weekend, you have to be in a panic mode, because the gap might favor you, and then on the contrary, you might lose your funded account or your deposit because of the gap, because broker will not have mercy, especially in terms of loss. But when it comes to profit, they might be dragging it with you that gap, blah blah blah, stuff like that. But in terms of loss, they don't have mercy, so they'll just clear you. But they themselves, if they have zero balance protection, they will probably do your main balance back to zero. You might have minus because of the gap. So if they have zero balance protection, your balance will be back to zero. Like Edway now, Edway has a zero balance protection. So let's say you according to the gap, you lose like minus 100, minus 1000, stuff like that. Your balance will be back to zero, and if you deposit, they will not remove it, unless maybe it's something that you do knowingly and they see that, okay, you are doing this knowingly. But if they see that it's because of market gap and stuff like that, your balance will be back to zero, and then you can start deposit from there and continue your normal trading. So DSY, we are still looking for a DSY weakness. That is the dollar weakness for the next couple of week back to this area. As you can see, this is a very crucial level, and then you see that the DSY, and if you actually see, you see that there's a little gap around this area, which means that we still have the US dollar weakness on this radar. So which means that next week, if we are to say, we can just see a small retracement if there is no gap, and then we'll see price back to 96 level. And then from this 96 level, this is where I'll be looking at price rejection. Probably price will now reject to the upside, and then we will have the invalidation of this level. But for now, next week, what I'm still looking at, if there is no gap, is a US dollar weakness to the downside. So probably we're looking at US dollar back to 96.799, this area, this particular area. So that's what I'm actually looking at for next week. As you can see, putting it in the 4-hour time frame, you see that this low has been invalidated, and then probably we might see a retracement. And that retracement, I'm not expecting that retracement to break this particular high right here. So I'm waiting for the retracement. If it's going to happen, probably maybe US dollar strength on early hours on Monday. So probably maybe it will come here. I'm not expecting it to break this area. I'm expecting it to reject back from there, and then we should have a new low around this area back to 96.799. So this is what I'm actually expecting on the US dollar, in the US dollar next week. So before we go to the individual currency, let's check the economic activities of next week, because when I checked it, I see that we have so many interest rate reports from the individual country central bank next week, and it's going to be interesting. So let's check the economic activities of next week. Monday is like a quiet day, no drama, no economic activities in the market. On Tuesday, we have a tentative report on JPY, that is the Bank of Japan policy rate. You get, so we have monetary policy statement. So the interest rate report, as you can see, the previous is 0.50%, and then the forecast is still 0.5%. So let's see if they will actually hold their interest rate next week. On Tuesday, we have a retail sales from the United States. This is a high impact news, and the previous is 0.1, the forecast is 0.2. We have the retail sales month over month to be 0.1 previously, and the forecast is minus 0.6. On Wednesday, we have the CPI, that is our inflation measure news from the Great Britain. So which means that the previous is 3.5, and then the forecast is 3.3, which means that we might have a low report around that area. On Wednesday, we have the unemployment claims in the US dollar, as you can see. So previously, the unemployment claims always come on Thursday, but I think next week we should see it on Wednesday, same day, because there's going to be an interest rate report in the United States. That's why they want to drop the unemployment claim to on Wednesday. So they will be dropping their unemployment, their interest rate report, which is 4.50%. You get 4.50%. So let's see if they will actually cut rate, or they will actually increase their interest rate. But for me, I don't think they will actually they need to alter this interest rate. So I think they will just leave it like that. They are going to hold this interest rate. So that's what I thought, my opinion anyway. So anything can happen around this area. I don't know. So we have the interest rate report from the Bank of Japan. We have from the FOMC. We also have from the Swiss franc. So these ones are planning on cutting the interest rate. But if the Bank of Switzerland, if they are cutting their interest rates, if the previous is 0.25 and the forecast 0.00, I don't think market might take this into consideration because of the geopolitical tension that is on the radar, that is on the ground now. So which means that anytime there uncertainty, you have the likes of DPY strength, you have the likes of CHF strength, gold strength, and then in some cases US dollar strength. But for now, I think another thing is moving that currency right there. And then another thing you should be expecting is AUD weakness, SND weakness, and then probably CAD weakness. But for now, the geopolitical tension is supporting Canadian dollar because of the rise in oil. So there will be little supply of oil and then a big demand of oil in the next couple of weeks because of the escalation between Iran, and Iran are one of the largest producer of oil in the world. So this might actually affect that particular currency. So for me, I think I'll be looking for the Canadian dollar strength, especially Canadian dollar JPY. And you might see AUD JPY sell massively, and you might be wondering why is Canadian dollar JPY buying. So that kind of thing might happen. On Thursday too, we have the rate statement from, so see, next week there's going to be a very high volatility next week. The political tension plus all these interest rate reports, is going to be massive. So you have to just stay safe, protect your capital, use the protective stop loss and stuff like that. So Bank of England too, they are planning on holding their interest rates next week. We have a 4 interest rate report from the Swiss franc, Bank of Japan, Bank of England, and the FOMC. So that's all we have next week that are very, very important. And then Friday we just have the retail sales from the Great Britain pounds against, and then that's all for the next week. So be expecting a lot of volatility in the markets next week. So let's go to the individual currency. The first currency pair I want to check is gold, which is a commodity. So let's see. Gold, I believe that any retracement you see here is a buy. Like any retracement whatsoever you see around this area is a buy. So let me just clear this drawing at first, and then you see how price break this high right here. See as price break the high here too. We have the invalidation of this high. There's a big retracement and blah blah blah. A lot of things happen at that particular area. So for me, I believe that this area is actually a resistance area. The price has not invalidated. So, and then we have this high too. So for me, I believe that there is going to be a deep pullback. There's going to be a deep pullback, but that deep pullback, for this to still be respected, that deep pullback might not invalidate this low. So we are not expecting the big pullback to invalidate that low. So there are 2 things I'm actually looking for on gold going to the next week. So looking for a pullback back to this area for a buy setup. If I see a rejection around this particular area, and then I'm going to buy, probably take my first profit here or here. And then if you zoom in, you see a level of demand around that area, and this is a 4-hour time frame. So you see a level of demand that price might actually reject from at that particular area if we actually see a pullback back to this demand level. And if price did not respect this demand level, there's another one here if there is a break of that particular area, which is still safe for you to use as a buy zone, and then probably take your profits at this level of resistance 3,491 or 3,432 if this is a very good risk to reward at this area, as you can see. So it's a very good level to buy from if price didn't respect this, because if you put the line, you see that there is a particular resistance that price break which might retest, and then prior to this demand level might use that support. And if this did not work, then you should be expecting this to work. But if price break this low, that's 3294, then probably another thing has actually happened, and then you might be looking for a sell setup on gold, because if you look at this area, you see that somehow we are still on point at this particular area. So price might actually just invalidate this trend line and then use this as support, and then it will continue to go to the upside. So the next one I want to check is euro US dollar. So euro US dollar, and if you let's look at the weekly time frame. So on the weekly time frame, you see that price has break above this area, this trend line, and then we'll see price break above this resistance level, come to retest it, and then we have a rejection at that area. That is on the weekly time frame. So on the daily time frame, you see that this high has been invalidated. Price has invalidated this high, and then we can wait for a pullback back to this area to buy. So this is for our time frame. So for me, I'll be looking for price to retest this area, that is a sell back to this area if there is no gap. You get, I'm actually big on there might be gap. You get, on Monday morning you might see, or Sunday night you might see gap on Sunday night. So probably if there is no gap, we should see price pulling back to this trend line which serve as support, and then we'll have a rejection that will invalidate this particular high as well. You get, and then we have price going to the upside right there. So this is my safe zone on Euro US dollar next week around this area. If price go below 1.14683, I'm not buying, so I'll be waiting for price to come up with before I set my bias at that particular area. So that's what I'm actually looking at on Euro US dollar. On pounds US dollar, on buy bias to on pounds US dollar, because if you check the 4-hour time frame, this high has been invalidated, but we might actually see a big pullback on this GBP US dollar coming to this particular area, and then we'll see a bullish setup that will actually invalidate this high as well. You get, so that's what I'm actually looking at. And then if I'm going to buy at that particular area, then I'll be taking my profit at 1.41977. You get, that's where I'll be taking my profit from. You get, and to be conservative, I might take my profit at this level, which is 1.38638. You get, so I might be taking my profit at this level, but I might wait for a pullback back to this level, because if you check this level, is the level of trend line which is respected, and then you see a lot of bounce at that particular area, and then you see what really happened there, and price refused to sell at this area. We saw price coming back to this area, which means that buyers are still very, very much active around that environment. So that's what I'm actually looking at on GBP USD. So on USD at this zone, I'm not actually buying, I'm not selling at this zone, so I'll be waiting for price to break out, then continue buying or selling. So I'll be waiting for price to either do one thing, maybe we'll see a breakout, a retest, then I'm going to start buying, you get, at that particular area, or there is a break to the downside and then retest and then sell back to this low right here. So that's what I'm actually looking at on the AUD USD. So I'll be very, very patient with AUD USD. And the funniest thing is that next week you might not see price might not even break this area next week, because as this time frame is a daily time frame, but let's see how it goes. And if you see how price keeps moving around this area for days, 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5, that's 15 days, 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2. So for a couple of days, you see as price just keep ranging, no clear direction around the particular area. So that's why I said I'm very, very patient around this environment. So the next one is in the US dollar. For me, I believe that price has break this level, that is 0.60102 to the upside. It comes for a retest, and you get, so in my own opinion, I'll be willing to buy around this particular area. You get, even if there is going to be a pullback, I don't think there is going to be a big pullback. I don't think there is going to be a pullback that will invalidate this low, even if there is going to be a big pullback at that particular area. You get, price come here, then there is going to be a pullback that invalidates that low right there. So let's see how it goes, and then I might just be waiting, you get, to see what price will do. And it's not that I will enter that buy as early as possible, no, I'll wait for a proper candlestick reversal pattern to form and some other confirmation, including probably maybe there is a chart pattern there or stuff like that. So then I'll be looking for that in the 15-minute time frame or 1 hour time frame, which I meant to use for entry. So you can do this according to your own strategy too. And then the next one is a US dollar Canadian dollar. So like I said before, the jump in the oil price can also affect this Canadian dollar, which means that you might see more strength in the Canadian dollar in the next couple of weeks due to that escalation. So I'll be waiting for price to probably retrace back to this level but not break it. So that is when I'll be looking for a sell setup back to 1.34205. So that's what I'm actually looking at for on US dollar Canadian dollar for a more sell setup back to 1.34205. So you can check that. On this US dollar JPY, for me, I believe that this particular currency pair will sell and then this will break out. This particular trend line will be invalidated. So the reason why is that you can see is in a downtrend and we still now have this escalation again, which means that we'll see more of JPY strength. And then if you're going to see a pullback, I don't think the pullback should invalidate this level of 145. So I believe that if price come here, we should see a sell setup back to this particular low. So that's what I'm actually looking at. So if we now see price breaking this level, breaking 145, 153, then that is when I won't be looking for a sell setup on US dollar JPY. But for now, my bias is a sell setup on US dollar JPY. So don't forget to click the recommended broker in the description box, which is Headway. So you can deposit as low as 2,000 naira and you can withdraw as low as 2,000 naira. Trade a naira account, trade a dollar account, trade any currency of your choice. That is your local currency. You can trade it with as low as $1 deposits. You get as $1.3 deposits, and you can convert that in your currency. And then it is the withdrawal is very fast. They have a good spread. And if you are looking to scale up your account, if you are looking to trade a big capital, don't forget to trade with Blueberry funded account. With my promo code, you can get a 20% discount with my promo code, and 20% is a lot. 20% is a lot, and it's rare for you to see a pro firm that will give you a 20% discount anytime, any day. It's only when they are doing promo that they do that, but this one, anytime, any day. If you use my promo code and buy first 20, you get a 20% off your purchase, and they don't have a strict rule. So if you check this channel, you will see the video I make about their rules in this YouTube channel. So I make a video about all their rules, so they don't have any hidden rules. So even if you do a mistake and then you breach their rule, they will give you a retake that, okay, I don't do this again, we try now. So all the link will be in the comment section if you're not able to click it in the description box. So the next one we want to take is a Canadian dollar JPY, and as I said, like I said previously, that you will see more of Canadian dollar strength due to the geopolitical tension. Okay, and you see on Thursday and then Friday, I think is it okay, on Friday you see this long candle after we have that escalation. So which means that for now, I'm actually waiting for two things to happen. For if these are this level break, then is a bye-bye, which means that we might have a deep pullback and then a breakout to the upside. And if that kind of thing happen next week, I might decide to take my profits at this particular area. You get, so I'm looking for a buy setup if it happen, or maybe you can see a pullback going to this particular area and then taking my profit at 108,222. So I'm actually watching what is going to happen at that particular area. Australian dollar, Japanese yen, I'm waiting for a sell setup. No lie about this, because in this geopolitical tension like this, you see more of Australian dollar weakness. That's just a fact. See more of Australian dollar weakness. And then for me, I believe that we are going to see a breakout to the downside. If there is no gap, we're going to see a breakout to the downside around this particular area. And then if we now have this level break, that is 930,750, so I'm gonna be looking for a sell on USD+GOLD+JPY+EUR unless price came back to that particular area. That's when I'll be looking for a sell, which might take profit at the peak of that line, of that trend line. At the bottom of that trend line, as you can see, 88511 or 88600 or 700. Again, that's where I'll be looking to take my profit. Don't forget, it's a 4-hour time frame. There are still going to be some refinement in the 1-hour time frame that if we continue to do it, it will waste our time. So the next one is USD+GOLD+JPY+EUR. USD+GOLD+JPY+EUR2, anything below 87702, I'm not going to trade it. You get, so anything below this, I'm selling USD+GOLD+JPY+EUR. Even if price come here and come here, I'm actually selling USD+GOLD+JPY+EUR back to this low. You get, so that's what I want to do on this pair. That's what I'm waiting to do on this pair. So waiting for a sell on USD+GOLD+JPY+EUR. So for me, I think that price should not break this to the upside. We should see a sell, and there might be gap. So that gap factor is very, very important. And then as you can see, there's a break of this already. In the 4-hour time frame, there's a break of this trend line already and a retest, so we might see a massive sell off at that particular area. And the next pair is GBP/USD. And there's one thing about when there is an escalation, you just see the GBP/USD, GBP/USD started flying. You get, so we've not put the interest rate factor here at all. What I'm just keep mentioning is the fact that there is a political tension, and political tension bring uncertainty to the market. Geopolitical tension, I mean, it brings uncertainties to the market. So one thing about it is that you see GBP/USD, GBP/USD flying. So for me, I think that we should see a retest on this GBP/USD and then a bounce to the upside. That is you see a retest and a rejection to the upside. So next week, I'm looking to buy GBP/USD, and then the last pair we want to check is GBP/AUD, which means that next week I'm looking to buy GBP/AUD, but I will still wait for a pullback. So I'll be waiting for this 4-hour pullback to this level where I will take my buy setup to the upside. So these are the 2 pair I'm looking to buy. Even Euro/AUD too, I'll be looking to buy Euro/Australian dollar, because this time I think you see more of Australian dollar and USD weakness. So guys, this is the weekly forex forecast, and then if you watched the video to this end, thank you for sticking to this channel, and don't forget to subscribe, like and share. Turn on the notification bell in case I drop any video so that you can be notified. Have a lovely trading week ahead. Don't forget to trade safely. Use your protective stop loss. I'll see you soon.